I'm in the 12-week year, shocker. And today we're going to be doing a deep dive on pages 97 through 101. If you have the book at home, follow along. If not, take notes and take notes anyways. So we're going to talk about establishing your 12-week goals. Deciding where you are going is the first step in getting there. Deciding where you are going is the first step in getting there. And holy cow, like obvious as heck, right? And you would be surprised how many people don't know. They don't have a destination that they're focused on. They just get up every day and do the best they can. And is that okay? Yeah, it is. And can you live a pretty decent life that way? Yeah, you can. But you're never going to get to mastery that way. You're never going to get to great that way. What you will more than likely end up with is mediocrity. One of the challenges with I'm doing the best I can and I live a pretty good life is you can't measure doing the best you can and living a pretty good life. Why not start with what does a great life look like? Why not have a destination of your great life? Brian Moran, the author of the 12-week year, refers to this as your aspirational vision. And why not? Why not start with a great aspirational vision? Now, again, deciding where you're going is the first step to getting there. Effective planning begins with a well-written, pay attention to the words, guys. It's written. It doesn't live up here. It's written. A well-written, specific, and measurable 12-week goal. In order for your goals to work, they need to be written, they need to be specific, and they need to be measurable. Written, specific, and measurable. Please write that down. Super important. Your goals must be owned by you. 3 key points here. Number 1, you've got to own the goals. They can't be somebody else's goal for you. They have to be your goal for you. You have to own it. Number 2, they must create meaningful benefits for you. If they don't, they're not worth the hassle. They have to create meaning benefits for you, and they must make a difference. Again, if they don't, it's not worth the hassle. So figure 14.1 on the bottom of page 96 is a great sample of 12-week plan. And let's do this. I had this queued up and ready to go, and now I don't. So just hang in there with me, everybody. We're going to get there. Okay, so you're looking at a sample of a 12-week plan. You've got goals, 2 to 3 goals tops. You don't want a dozen goals. You want 2 or 3 tops, and then key action plan or tactics in order to achieve those goals. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to start with goal number 1, and we're going to whiteboard this in just a moment. And I will put the link for this on the chat here in just a second, so you can download this as well. You're going to start with goal number 1, and then you have key tactics in order to achieve that goal. Goal number 2, and again, the tactics to achieve that goal, and goal number 3, and so on. Now, we don't want that. Close the ad. So All right, and we're back. And I'm going to hit the chat and I'm going to put the link to that in the chat so you guys can copy and paste it. For those of you who are in the room, just see me afterwards and I'll make sure you get a copy of it. All right, now we're going to whiteboard this. And before we do, hold on a second. The best plans are focused on one or two things that you want to make progress on in the next 12 weeks. So we just said that. Focus on one or two things. Don't focus on a dozen, focus on one or two. A good plan today is better than a perfect plan tomorrow. If you're one of those people who are getting ready to get ready, just create a plan today and get started. Planning is just problem solving. Your planning solves the problem of how to close the gap between your results today and your 12-week goal. In other words, your 12-week goal is to list 6 homes in the next 12 weeks, 2 a month. Now, if you're already doing that, that's not your goal. Your goal is 4 homes a month or 12 in the next 12 weeks. It has to be a stretch, but it has to be a realistic stretch so that you can achieve it. If it's too big, you'll ignore it. If you're already doing that goal, then it doesn't mean anything to you. It's not meaningful. So it's a stretch. Now, where you are today and is in between where you are today and where you want to go, that's the gap. Now, what's the problem? What's the plan in order to close that gap? Now, if you're looking inside the 12-week year, you'll see that he actually writes out a plan. And I'm just going to do it with you quickly here on how you could do this. So you've got goal number 1. Goal number 1, just for purpose of today, is going to be 6 listings. In other words, you're going to take 6 listings in the next 12 weeks. And what are the tactics that you're going to focus on in order to take that goal? Well, and by the way, this is not going to be legible. So listen, because there's no way I can write this out and talk to you at the same time. So it's gibberish. First tactic is make 10 sphere of influence daily, 10 sphere of influence contacts daily, and ask for a referral 50% of the time. So that's tactic number 1, and we're going to scorecard that weekly. In other words, if my goal is to make 10 sphere of influence contacts daily and ask for a referral 50% of the time, how did I do at the end of the week? Now, why 50% of the time? Well, if you're not asking for referrals currently, and you tell yourself that you're going to ask for a referral with every single conversation, you're setting the bar too high. Start at 50%. And by the way, if 50% feels like too much of a stretch, start at 25%. But get busy doing something, because right now you're doing nothing. Have 10 sphere of influence conversations a day. That's that group of people who know you, like you, and if they were going to buy or sell a home, they might work with you. It doesn't necessarily mean that they would, but they know you, they like you, you know them, you've got their name and contact information, and they might work with you if they were to buy or sell a home. Sphere of influence. And make 10 contacts a day, 10 contacts a day to that group and ask for a referral 50% of the time. Tactic number 2, schedule a minimum of 1 for sale by owner or expired preview every single day. Now, what that means is at the end of 12 weeks, you will have met with 60 for sale by owner and or expired. These are just previews. This is just, hey, if I had an offer on your home, would you want me to bring you the offer? I never want to list my home. Cool, I understand. And if I had an offer, would you want me to bring you the offer? I just need 5 or 10 minutes to pop by and take a look at your home so I could potentially bring you the offer. This is a soft sell. It's not a hard sale. But your tactic is schedule a minimum of 1 for sale by owner or expired preview every single day, 60 in 12 weeks. Now you're going to scorecard this weekly. In other words, at the end of every week, how did you do? If it's 1 a day, then it's 5 a week. The next tactic is make 5 follow-up calls daily. So you're building this pipeline and you're making 5 calls a day. You're making 25 a week and 100 a month. And the key is, it's a tactic, you're measuring it, it's going to get done, and success happens in the follow-up. If I slow down for just a moment and I said, this might be the most important part of this plan, so please pay attention, because success happens in the follow-up, and so does failure. Where people fail is they don't follow up, or they follow up for a little while until they don't. That's why at the end of every Survive to Thrive coaching conversation we always end with what is work. And part of what is work is follow up forever, because no is not a word that lives in your vocabulary. No simply means not yet. Remember, people will never change their mind, but they will make a new decision based on new information. This is critically important. So you have a tactic for this. You're going to make 5 follow-up calls every single day, 20 a week, 25 a week, 100 and 100 in a month. Mail 100 golden letters to your farm. Next tactic, mail 100 golden letters to your farm. When is it due? Week 1, week 5, and week 9. So at the beginning of each new 4 weeks, at the beginning of each month, if you broke your 12-week year down into 3 months, week 1 of month 1, week 1 of month 2, and week 1 of month 3, you're going to mail 100 golden letters. And call, next tactic, call 25 or door knock 25 homes weekly from your golden letter list. That gets you to all 100 that you sent out in the mail. So you've mailed them the golden letter, Audrey, and you're calling 25 a week, or you're door knocking 25 a week in order to follow up on the letter that you sent. Now, did I give you anything to do? And by the way, this is just an example. I mean, yeah, you can copy this and you can implement this plan and go for it. Or you could just use the concept and create your own. And did I give you anything to do that is unrealistic? Did I give you anything to do that's going to be too hard for you to do? No. One person said no, so that's awesome. I don't think so. I think it's completely realistic. Now, here's what I know, Juanita. I'll talk to you since you're talking to me. Here's what I know. Most people don't do this. Very few people have a written plan. And even fewer look at that plan daily and keep track of how they're doing. And if every single one of us, starting today, were to create a 12-week plan. Your year is only 12 weeks long. It's not 52 weeks long. So we're creating urgency. You don't have 52 weeks in order to hit these goals. You've only got 12. And you don't have time to have a bad week. You don't have time to have a bad day. Because in this model, a day is a week is a month. Now, you have to hit these tactics every single day. And when you do, just on take 6 listings in the next 12 weeks, when you hit those tactics every single day, what do you think the odds are that you're going to get 6 listings in the next 12 weeks? Would you say pretty good? Mm-hmm. Would you say better than they have been in the past when you haven't been doing any of this? Oh, there you go. All right, so just to give you an example on one more goal, because it's different tactics on different goals, I have goal number 2. And goal number 2 is to grow my database by 30 SOI, 30 sphere of influence in the next 12 weeks. And you might think I'm aiming kind of low, and that's fine if you do. how many of you have added 30 people to your sphere of influence in the last 12 weeks? And if your answer is I did, well, then make it 60. But if it was 0, start with 30. Now, what would be my tactics? Okay, number 1, I would add 1 new Met to my database daily using friends and family script. Hey, I'm a real estate agent and I like to keep my friends and family members updated on the market. That simply means that I'm sending interesting information on the real estate market once a month, and I call every 3 or 4 months just to check in. Would it be okay if I added you to that group? And remember, I'm totally fine with people telling me, heck no, go away, you're strange. I don't want to be in that group. I'm fine with that because I'm paying attention to the yeses, not the nos. Ignore the no's and pay attention to the yeses. You just need 1 person a day to say yes. And I'm adding 1 new Met to my database daily using my friends and family script. When am I going to score that? Daily. I'm going to mail 5 personal notes every week to all of my new Mets. So each one of those new Mets that got added to my database, I'm mailing them a handwritten personal note. The next tactic, I'm writing an 8x8 smart plan. When is that getting scored? Week 1. In other words, write an 8x8 smart plan this week. Next tactic, put all of your new Mets on an 8x8 smart plan. That means you're going to communicate with them once a week for 8 weeks. The goal is to create top of mind. So when they think of real estate, they think of you. Now, the 8th contact is, hey, Michael, by the way, I've really enjoyed getting to know you over the last 8 weeks. And just out of curiosity, if you were to buy or sell a home, or if you knew somebody who was going to buy or sell a home, would you possibly work with me?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Now, when they say yes, you move them to your sphere of influence. Now, if they say no for any reason, maybe they have a good friend who's a real estate agent and the answer is no, I'm okay with that because you've added 1 new person every single day to your Met database, which means you've added 60 in 12 weeks. If half of them move into your sphere of influence, you've moved 60 new Mets into your database and 30 of them into your sphere of influence. Now, if all 60 say absolutely, then you've moved 60. It's that simple. Now, if your goal was to add 30 new contacts to your sphere of influence database in the next 12 weeks, did I just give you a strategy to do that? Say yes. Is it unrealistic? Say no. Could every single one of you do that? Say yes. All right, now here's the power. The power is 30 in 12 weeks is 120 in a year. Yes or yes?
Yes.
Okay, now you and I are having a conversation 3 years from now. 3 times 120 is 360. Yes or yes?
Yes.
Yeah, 360 in your sphere of influence, and we know that 7% of homeowners move every 12 year, every year on average. We know that 7% of homeowners move every year on average. Just take 360 times 7%.
25.
Thank you. That's 25 sales. If your average commission is $10,000, that's $250,000. Adding 30 people to your sphere of influence every 12 weeks. By the way, that's not including for sale by owners and expired. It's not including door knocking. It's just working relationships. But you're so busy trying to have a good month that you lose sight of having a great career. All of us greatly overestimate what we can accomplish in a year, overestimate what we can accomplish in a year, and we underestimate what we can accomplish in a career. No matter what your aspirational vision, no matter how big it is, every single one of you are maximum 5 years away from having, doing, and being anything you want to be, do, and have, if you'll work with focus every single day. Okay, talk to me. Yes, calls mean conversations, correct. Unless I was talking on follow-up calls, that's calls. So if I use the word calls, it probably meant calls, not conversations. Conversations and contacts mean somebody picked up the phone on the other end, or you're talking face-to-face with someone. All right, talk to me. What'd you hear?
I heard that without a system and a plan being executed, we can't move forward.